Hello, this is John Thomas, JT, coming to you live from the shores of Lake Damariscotta in at Camp Kiev. Here I am. This is a test to see if the Wi-Fi and the video bandwidth here is enough to support uh, a decent live YouTube live streaming event. So I'm going to run this for a while just so that we can get a large enough sample to see if it holds up over time, because we've had problems in the past where the live stream has started out okay and then gotten worse as time has gone on. So here from memory is a recitation of The Jumblies by Edward Gorey. They sailed to sea in a sieve, they did, and a sieve they sailed to sea, in spite of all their friends could say, on a winter's morn and a stormy day, in a sieve they sailed to sea. And all of them said, who watched them go, won't they soon be upset, you know, for the sky is dark and the voyage is long, and happen what made it extremely wrong, in a sieve to sail to sea. Far and few, are the lands where the Jumblies live, their heads are green and their hands are blue, and they sailed to sea in a sieve. They sailed to sea in a sieve, they did. In a sieve they sailed to sea, and the water soon came in, and the water soon came in to sea. They sailed to sea in a sieve. They did. In the sieve they sailed so fast, with only a beautiful pea green veil tied with a ribbon by way of a sail to a small tobacco pipe mast. And all of them saw who watched them go, won't they soon be upset, you know, for the sky is dark and the voyage is long, and happen what mates is extremely wrong in a sieve to sail so fast. Far and few are the lands where the Jumblies live. Their heads are green and their hands are blue, and they sailed to sea in a sieve. The water soon came in, the water soon came in to keep them dry. They wrapped their feet in a pinky paper all folded neat and fastened it down with a pin. And they spent the night in a crockery jar, and each of them said, how wise we are, that the sky be dark and the voyage be long. Everything we're rash and wrong, we're well round in our sieves we spam. Far and few are the lands where the Jumblies live. Their heads are green and their hands are blue, and they sail to sea in a sieve. They sailed away all the night, and after the sun went down, they warbled and warbled a moony song that green sounds of coppery garland and the shades of a mercury brown. Oh, Tim, below, how happy we are when we live on our sieve in our crockery jar. Far and few are the lands where the Jumblies live. Their heads are green and their hands are blue. And they sailed to sea in a sieve. They sailed to the western sea, they did, to a land all covered with trees. And they bought a monkey, and they bought an owl and some green decked daws and a lovely monkey with lollipop paws and a hive of silvery bees. And they bought an owl and a useful cart and a pound of rice and a raspberry tart. And no end of Stilton cheese. Far and few are the lands where the Jumblies live. Their heads are green and their hands are blue. They sailed to sea in a sieve. And in 20 years, they all came back, in 20 years or more, and all of them said, Fritz said, how tall they've grown, for they've been to the hills in the horrible zone and the hills of the Chankly Boar, and they drank their health and gave them a feast of dumplings made of beautiful yeast, and each of them said, if only we live, we too shall sail to sea in a sieve to the hills of Chankly Boar. Far and few are the lands where the Jumblies live. Their heads are green and their hands are blue. They sail to sea in a sieve. An Alphabet by Edward Gorey. The apparition of her lover she recognizes with dismay. Later on, she will discover that he himself has died this day. The baby, lying meek and quiet upon the customary rug, has dreams of rampage and riot, and will grow up to be a thug. The cad decides that he is weary of this affair, and that is that, and so he tells her just how dreary he thinks she is, and leaves the flat. The drudge expends her life in mopping and emptying and filling pails. She must do so, never stopping, until her strength completely fails. The effigy got up with clothing abstracted from the victim's room is raised aloft to cheers of loathing before it reaches its fading doom. can't remember G. The heretic lives among the boulders and wears no garment but a sack. By slow degrees, his reason molders. The sun has long since burnt him black. The invalid wakes in terror to find his nose becoming numb. The doctor's made another error. What unknown symptoms are to come? The journalist surveys the slaughter, the worst in years without a doubt. He pours himself a gin and water and wonders how it came about. The keeper, when it's time for luncheon, throws down his charge upon the bed and, brandishing a homemade truncheon, belabors him about the head. The Lazar has little need of perseverance in prompting a display of alms. The Lazar, blessed with an appearance enough to give the strongest qualms, has little need of perseverance in prompting a display of alms. The magnate waits upon the pavement for his enormous limousine and ponders further child enslavement and other projects still more mean. The nun is fearfully bedeviled. She runs about and moans and shrieks. Her flesh is bruised, her clothes disheveled. She's been like this for weeks and weeks. The orphan strays through the gloom unnoticed on naked feet. Later on, soon she will fall down and perish unnoticed on some sordid street. The proctor buys the pupil ices and hopes that he will not resist as he attempts to practice vices few people even know exist. The quarry, fleeing from the outing, sinks panting amidst the reeds and mud and hearkens to the distant shouting that tells them they are out for blood. The resurrectionist goes plying without his humble trade. I do that, nothing but a spade. The suicide, as she is falling, illuminated by the moon, regrets her act and finds appalling the thought she will be dead so soon. The tourist huddles in the station as the late night gives way to dawn and finds a certain fascination in knowing all the trains are gone. The sight of uncle gives no pleasure, but rather causes much alarm. The children know that at his pleasure, he plans to have them come to harm. The visitor was somewhat pensive when she arrived to pay a call, but now is faint and apprehensive from hours of waiting in the hall. The wanton, though she knows its perils, must needs smear kohl about her eyes and wake the interest of strangers with the long-drawn, hoarse, erotic sighs. The xenophobe clutches at the table. He feels his toes and fingers curl. He himself is barely able to keep from striking down the girl. The yegg on rubber soles goes creeping throughout the house when it is late. The yegg on rubber soles goes creeping about the house when it is late, and while the inhabitants are sleeping, carts off the heirlooms and the plate. The Zouave, brave and fierce in battle, would sooner take a life than not. It scarcely had begun to prattle when he impaled the hapless tot. All right, that should be enough.